Cardone coming up right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
How we doing, Chad, on sound?
Jeff, how do you want this set up here?
Can you want to do me a favor? Will you monitor the Instagram and comment back? Go to,
Where do you want me at, Travis?
I'm not a user.
So give me a couple taps.
I'm not an
Just
Tap,
go
admin,
to-
tap,
it
tap.
doesn't-
so I
well,
can't
yeah,
monitor.
but you can
Hello.
Jeff, how do you want
Hello.
You sit in the middle right there.
Hello.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Am I live on the crossing page? The crossing page. I think it might be
Alright, let
live on the
me-
wrong page. That'd be fine.
Thank you.
It's not a bad way to share the audience.
Yeah, you're live on the cross.
Cool. Click on it. We'll do it on the. Oh wow, it's like super live. Can I get the little adapter, please?
Thank you.
All right.
How do I turn it so that like, there's no sound, so it doesn't like?
Should be able to-
Mute the speaker icon on there somewhere. Tap it once and then.
There you go.
Matt, are we
But
all
you can
in on
comment back to
that?
people and like say thank you.
On that
for
live?
sharing.
Are we all gonna fit on here?
Yes,
Think we're good?
I think so. You're just kind of catty corner.
Okay, sounds good.
Alright, you go to
Here, I'll
A little
adjust.
chatty.
I'll adjust.
Still
it.
adjust.
I'll see.
Sorry, Al. Thank you.
Little Khaleesi.
These I don't.
Y'all
Let me
up
know
on the tables
where you want it.
here.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Sitting around.
I
Oh,
think.
yeah.
Yes.
Can we? We've got some blank space with the door over here, but I feel like if we go any more the other way, we might get the other stuff. So, what do you think, Travis? Take a look.
Okay, yeah, bump it.
This way.
Yeah, that way a little bit.
Do you want to bump us that way?
Perfect. Right there.
Right there.
Yep.
No, yeah, go back the other way. That was
Just a
better.
little bit. Just
Yeah.
a little. Right.
Right.
Perfect.
That's good.
Good.
Bueno.
Bueno.
Be
Sure, no.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
what flavor you want?
What do you got?
Marigold or chai or China Rose?
I'll do the China Rose.
Love
my
Radio
favorite.
Show with
You and Liz.
Grazie.
Matt Cardone.
Yes, sir.
Boom.
Okay.
The Instagram live in too.
Yeah, it's
We
right
on?
here.
Love Radio Show.
Well,
Travis.
on
Episode. What episode is this?
Read that.
29.
29.
It's.
Share through.
I wonder if they put
Share
these aside because
through.
they didn't fill up all the way and I grabbed the wrong one.
Yeah.
But they're still pretty good.
Mic checks.
Check, baby.
Check.
Baby, 1, 2, 3.
29.
Baby, check.
Mic check.
Got me?
Did I hear a baby in there?
Share through.
I did hear a baby in there. Where was I here?
Check, baby,
Check
check,
this
baby,
out.
check.
You check it. No, you check it.
Check right there. You check, 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 check.
And we got sound coming out somewhere. On these computers.
I did hear a
Should
baby
we
in
eat
there.
that?
Where was I here? Sounds like Travis.
Oh, this chick nice, man. Cool.
Oh, so nice.
Schmance.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Beth. Thanks for tuning in.
Style on
Styling and profiling. Where's that T-Lixer at?
there. You can't pop it yet. Oh, yeah, we're
Don't-
Yeah,
don't
pop it
pre-pop.
yet. Don't pre.
Yeah.
Don't pre-crack. Don't be a
Don't-
pre-cracker.
No pre-cracking.
No pre-cracking.
Last week we pre-cracked and Travis. Woo.
No premature popping of the
Man, I've been so excited for this show. I have been dying to get you because remember on Mondays you always had a course.
Yeah.
It's always
It's been a
Push that
long.
microphone forward.
This
It's
one?
actually on
Oh,
the side. It's
like
not on
this
the
side.
top. It's on the side of there.
You're
You
right.
want-
Right here?
Right
Yeah,
front.
bring it up
Yep,
a
right
little
up
bit
front.
for his height.
Yeah.
Check.
There you
Hey,
Check.
go.
Perfect.
Not, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Phone's on silent.
Rock and roll.
Absolutely. I always get
Check.
scolded for that.
Sounds good.
Chad, could you hear Matt?
Check.
All right, kids. Yeah, I think.
Ooh, I forgot I had something exciting.
Try it again.
Can you hear me?
Beauty.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's a beauty.
Fantastic.
All right. Let's rock and roll, kids. It's that
this
time.
makes a lot of sense. This
There you
is
go.
good. Let's do this. Let's go.
Oh boy. These two.
I can't hear.
You can't hear? That's because you don't have headphones on. Better. Too loud? You good?
Take care.
Good evening and welcome to the Epic Love Radio Show. My name is Travis Suit, and we are going to be sailing through the universe tonight with you. Thank you for everybody out there in Facebook land and Instagram land for joining. Down on the right, we have the one and only Blair McKnight, ladies and gentlemen. Give her a round of applause. And in the dark corner with her newly dark hair, darkly dyed hair, the dark horse. The one and only Liz Merson. Soon to be Elizabeth Suit.
Yeah.
Hey. And our featured guest this evening, we have been waiting a long, long time to have him in studio. The one and only, ladies and gentlemen, known around the world and throughout the universe for his Cardonian effect. The one and only Matt Cardone. And in the black corner,
Who's that?
with the gruffy beard and the old Forge distillery hat,
Like a true mountain man.
the sound engineer.
How do you do? It's Chad Murphy.
Hey!
Hey.
Hey, Chad.
Hey.
Well, there we go. Here we are.
Wait, what about Blair?
Once again.
Do we get Blair?
We already have
Where's
All right,
Blair?
we got everybody?
Where's Blair?
Perfect.
So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This show is brought to you by the Piper's Angels Foundation, and we are here to share inspiring stories of love through action. That is our goal, our intention, our mantra, and so here we are. So where's Blair?
Where else would I be? I don't know if you guys saw, but Brantley and I are officially registered for the 2019 Crossing for a Cure.
Oh my
We
goodness.
are
Yeah.
Team Epic Love.
Wow,
Nice.
look
Yes.
at that.
Yes, so anybody who wants to join us, we welcome you. But
Virtual paddlers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're all registered. We're
Yeah.
ready to go. We're excited.
So if anybody wants to join your Epic Love paddle team, anybody out there in Facebook or Instagram land or on iHeartRadio, you can join the Epic Love team as a virtual paddler. It's a $0 registration fee, but you do have a $250 fundraising minimum, which takes about like 4 texts and 2 phone calls, and you'll be there. And 1 post on Facebook.
Yeah.
But you will get a Crossing for a Cure shirt as a commemorative gift as a part of the journey in supporting the team. And it'd be awesome. And you'll get all the updates. So when Blair and Brantley and the rest of the Epic Love crew are paddling, you'll get updates from those on the Epic Love team. Now we just got to get your dad over there,
Well,
the co-producer over there.
he got a little upset this morning. He's like, what if I wanted to be on your team? I'm like, well, you can still be on my team. It's a possibility if you want to join. So, yeah, we'll see.
On that note,
Hey, and on that note, one of our supporting sponsors, T-Lixer Kombucha.
Yummy.
Take care of your belly gut flora.
Is it time to crack?
Yeah.
Just sounds good.
Awesome.
You know there's a whole party going on. There's a whole, the zoo of animals that live inside your belly. When you drink this stuff, you know what's going on down there. They're like, it's party time! Woo! They're loving it. They're having a big old party down there.
Let out of the cage.
That's it. It's like being jacked up on steroids.
And as promised, I have a letter from Paul
Oh, wonderful.
Thibodeau from last week.
Let's
So,
hear it.
all right. So it's a little small. Hold on.
from Paul, it's a little
From
small.
Paul, and it's a little small. I have more love than I can verbally express to all organ donors. Organ donors save thousands of lives every year, and I personally have been saved by organ donors twice. Without organ donors, so many great people wouldn't have a chance to live a full, long life that they deserve. I cannot tell my donors' families thank you enough for the gift they have given to me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone who decides to make the selfless decision to become an organ donor. With epic love, Paul Thibodeau.
Oh, he's awesome.
Blair, why don't you tell our guests who weren't able to listen in last week who Paul was?
Paul is a police officer in Louisiana, and he has received 2 lung transplants in the past. I think it was like not even 5 years, and has returned to duty every time. And he is a true cystic fibrosis warrior. And he's very interested, by the way, in doing the crossing. He has told me
Right on.
multiple times since the show last week. So I told him I would let you know.
Yeah, that would be incredible. We'd love to
Yeah.
have him down.
Yeah.
That was an awesome love letter.
Good.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, thank you, Paul, for doing that. Appreciate
And for
it.
everybody out there in Facebook and Instagram and iHeartRadio land, go back to episode 28 and listen to Paul's inspiring story
It was incredible.
and share it. It will inspire. That's what we're here to do, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Liz,
Yes.
the sponsor monster of the Crossing for a Cure. She's already got like $6 million in sponsorship lined up. It's mind blowing.
Wow.
Nah, that's an overstatement, but no, she's pretty incredible. And we were actually talking on the way here. I said, you got to like write a script for the rest of us who people actually do say no to sometimes. You know, like either people are really afraid to say no to her or they love to say yes. I'm not sure which one it is,
Maybe it's both.
but maybe it's both.
Might be.
So yeah, so
I was gonna ask her for some tips actually on fundraising. Like, all right, Brantley and I have 3,000, and we're gonna fundraise as a team, obviously, and we're gonna make our goal higher than that. But yeah, I was gonna ask you for some tips on that as well. And I need some fundraising ideas too, by the way. I want to do something like very visual that I can do on the show and show people, you know, like I'm another person that.
You know who did a really great job last year?
Who?
It was Julie.
Yes,
With the board
that's what I'm
project.
talking about,
Stuff
yes.
like that, I think is so great.
What can I
What
do?
did she do?
So she took her paddleboard and she had everybody donate $65 to sponsor a rose in the name of 65 roses. And she put those roses on her paddleboard with the name of a CF warrior on the inside or the name of the sponsor that sponsored the rose and paddled across the ocean with that board. And then, so the whole board, I mean, it looks amazing, it looks beautiful, but it was a very simple, easy way to get the community involved to just sponsor a rose. And she sold a ton of them. And I mean, it was a great way to create a project. And then she had like the voyage of her board on one of the Tuesdays to like the first time it was going to be in the water with all the roses on it. And it was fun. It was a really cool thing.
she got the Creative Fundraising Award of the Year.
Yeah.
She actually invented the award because we didn't have it.
I'm gonna invent this, and now I'd
Yeah.
like to accept.
We didn't have it before this year, but she came up with such a creative fundraiser.
Yeah.
Another great example would be a gentleman who's watching right now. And let's say hello. We got Kathy, Josh, my mom. Hey, Mom.
Hey, Mom.
Leilani. Danny Diaz is out there. But one gentleman who's watching right now is Josh Ferris from Marco Island, who was our top fundraiser from last year. He's also first place in the men's 14 and under on stand-up paddleboard. Two-time Crossing Crusader.
He's a beast.
Yeah, he's a beast in all respects. But at the same time, he's like the beauty and the beast where he really has a nice heart too.
He sings the best Disney songs ever. I have to say.
Oh,
Thanks,
he
Josh.
sings. Awesome.
Yeah,
He just did, what was it? The song in the warehouse. He just did.
oh yeah, he
Owen
was
Brothers.
jamming. Yeah, check
Owen
out
Brothers,
Josh
yeah.
Ferris's
Oh, I
page.
saw
He's,
that.
He's
That was
incredible.
awesome.
he's a rising star.
Yeah.
We're gonna help him produce his first album.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, we should, right?
He should.
Josh, you should create a Disney song that we can share on our page and with everybody.
Yeah, on the Epic Love page.
Yeah, no, he's really, but so what he's done, I mean, they should really, this is no joke, they should like name a street, a school, or build a statue for him in Marco Island. I mean, the guy is not only was police officer of the year, he's been killing it over there. And he has been, I mean, he's just rallied the entire island and community in terms of fundraising. He's hosting a showing of the film coming up in November over there. You know, it's funny. I mean, it's like you wonder, well, how does he do it? How did he raise $50,000? Well, the guy, I mean, I don't know if he strong arms people and he pulls them over and he says, if you don't, no, flashes the badge. No, but he went around and he had a folder made with all the documents. He had his own business card made that said Crossing Crusader, Josh Ferris, with his contact information. He had everything in a binder. So when people asked, he opened it up and there was no way you couldn't take the guy seriously, you know? And I mean, he got an owl named after Piper, or named for Piper.
Wow.
A burrowing owl named in Marco Island for Piper.
I think that brings up a good point, because sometimes when someone approaches you to, kind of donate to anything, you're kind of like, well, what is it for? What do you mean? Where does it go? And I think having that type of, format in place really gives like the credibility to it, and people really understand this is going to a great cause and it's like the real deal, as opposed to like GoFundMe for my new bike.
would you like to join Liz's fundraising committee? Because that was really eloquent. Right? I mean, I felt like you just.
We can barter.
Okay.
And you can help me fundraise.
Deal.
All right.
But yeah, so the crossing registration opened on Monday, October 1st, earliest we've ever opened it. We had a record-breaking day 1 and day 2. Is today day 2? Is today the second?
3.
Today is day
The
3.
third. We've had 28 registrants, 28 Crusaders sign up,
Wow.
all from different types. I mean, recreational, competitive, anything you can imagine. We've got an OC6 team coming from Canada. I mean, just unbelievable stuff. Like there's a gentleman, Jamie. He just joined the crossing group page. Jamie is coming from Kansas,
Okay.
middle of the country. He's been an avid paddler on lakes, but never paddled on the ocean. Coming for his 10th anniversary with his wife.
Wow.
Yeah, super excited. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm excited too. So yeah, I want to do some type of fundraising that's going to be like I can do like a weekly check-in, come here and like see how many more, donations I've received. So we'll have to think of something. I have a few ideas in mind, so I'll bounce them off you guys. But stay tuned.
Yeah. And as always, if anybody out there is watching or listening and you have a question or you have a comment, please drop it right here in this little commentary box on Facebook. And then if you're on Instagram, Liz is going to comment from her personal page. The sponsor. What?
I am set up now. Official. Man, this is.
Yeah, we got multiple. Yes, we're hitting it from every angle.
All over
Like
the
a
place.
Yeah.
machine.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's very high tech now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Slightly uncomfortable, but
I want to give a shout out to a couple of our other supporting sponsors, Endless Summer Rum and Tao of Stoke, produced by the one and only Marian Antala of Grain and Barrel Spirits. So Tao of Stoke is a new lifestyle brand he launched, like Taoism, and Stoke, that feeling you get from surfing and excitement. So you combine the two and you get stoked off that connection to Mother Nature. Tao of Stoke. Check it out on Instagram.
I like that.
Follow it. Like it. Yeah.
Cool.
And then also to the Palm Beach Sports Club, who is a title sponsor of the Crossing for a Cure this last June. They've got a couple of locations that have recently opened up in the Palm Beach County area. It's a brand new fitness experience. So make sure you check it out. Go in there and sign up. Get a membership. Get fit. Right? You got to train. Yeah. You got to train for the crossing, right? I mean, this is like something that takes a little training. But
just a little.
Just a little. Hi, Heidi. Hi, Nikki. Thank you for joining. Oh, Josh said, brother, I love it. I guess that means he's going to be singing a Disney song. Josh, next time you're in town, you got to come in studio to sing. So, all right, enough of that. Enough of that
crossing.
That, geez,
It takes up so much time.
It's a labor of love, for sure.
14 hours.
Yeah. But that brings us to the point in the show tonight and why we're all here, to share an inspiring story of love through action. And we have a gentleman, I'll call him a young man, although he's maybe a young grasshopper, he's wise. He's wise beyond his grasshopper years. You could call him a guru, maybe you don't. You could call him a Vedic meditation instructor. You could call him a friend, a brother of the universe. There's a lot of things you could call the man. I say he's just a great walking example of epic love. And he's bringing a conscious revolution, I would say, an evolution to the Palm Beach County area and beyond with his courses and instruction in meditation. And there's a lot more I could say. The man has traveled all over the world. He has spent countless, and by countless, I mean thousands of hours traveling and meditating to advance his skill set as an instructor and a teacher so he could help bring these tools that are helping to bring awareness, consciousness, and enlightenment to anybody who needs or wants access to it. So we're going to dive deep into that right now with the one and only Matt Cardone.
We're going to Jim Carrey that shit.
Yeah. Oh, bleep it out. Bleep. That's a running joke. If you guys know Jim Carrey, we have a running joke that you just got to Jim Carrey that bleep, because Jim Carrey, as you guys have seen or maybe not have seen, YouTube his red carpet interview. Jim Carrey is a very advanced thinker, you could say, and a little off the cuff. but very genuine.
Mhm.
And there's a great interview with him out there that's well worth watching. We should share it on the page. We'll share it. We'll share it on the Epic Love page so people check it out.
Yeah, and sometimes it gets taken a different way, right? When it's so out there, but it kind of makes sense. The average person that sees that thinks this guy's lost his mind. And then the people that are kind of waking up think, holy crap, this guy's awake.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like you can take it two different ways depending upon the lens in which you're seeing it.
Well, and isn't that kind of the whole entire wave and movement of consciousness and some of the principles of Buddhism and the Eastern philosophy, how it's kind of washed over to the Western side of the world?
Yeah, it's kind of made its way over here. You know, we've been saturated in predominantly like a Judeo-Christian type influence. And I'd say since the 60s, 70s, 80s, we've really had this strong, you know, surge of Eastern philosophy, you know, Vedic, Hinduism, Buddhism, and people are really resonating with it. And I think it's fantastic that anyone can really tap into whatever works for them. And that's what it's all about. It's all about coming from a place of love. And if that's the structure that you find that works best for you, it's fantastic.
Yeah. So what is your official title? I gave you a lot, but I don't know what the official one is.
So I'm just a regular guy that teaches meditation.
Okay, there you go. Regular guy, regular awesome guy that teaches meditation.
And you specialize in Vedic, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Will you explain to me kind of what that is?
Yeah, so there's all different forms of meditation out there, and just to kind of give you a broad stroke, it gets kind of subcategorized into three main categories here in the West. So the first one, and Travis was kind of tapping into this, but it's concentrative meditation. So that's usually indicative of like Buddhism or a monastic approach or Taoism, and that's a lot of concentration, a lot of focus, a lot of rigidity, discipline. So when you think of meditation and you were to Google it, you'd think of someone in a Lululemon outfit sitting near a ravine, you know, chakras all in a line, back up straight, full lotus. And in reality, sometimes when that happens, you're utilizing a lot of effort in the body to where you can't de-excite and allow the mind to just quiet down for a little bit. And then the second form of meditation, and just to really clarify, just like the religions that come here or the different philosophies, everything works the way it's designed to work, if it really resonates with you. And so contemplative meditation is the idea of inserting thoughts into the mind that are more charming than what's currently going on. So the busy mind has between 60 and 90,000 thoughts a day. And if you go to a guided meditation at a yoga studio, or you open up an app on YouTube and watch a visualization, or apps like Headspace, One Giant Mind, Calm, if you have those going, you know, a couple minute meditation, that's usually contemplative meditation. So it's just giving you this nice relaxing story to allow everything else to just go by the wayside. And then newer in the West is, and it's had quite a surge in the last decade, is mindfulness. And to really narrow it down and kind of make it a little bit simple is that mindfulness is the practice of bringing yourself to the moment and attempting to stay in the moment. And anytime that happens, when you're using effort to bring yourself to the moment's already passed. So true mindfulness is actually a benefit of correct and consistent meditation. It's quite an advanced technique. But a sociologist in the 70s traveled to India, and he spent 10 years at an ashram and a monastery studying with monks. And after about 7 to 9 years, that's the practice that they start to implement for monks that have been meditating 10 to 12 hours a day. So mindfulness, although it's so powerful, is quite advanced. So a lot of times people need to get, you know, their feet in the water, feel comfortable about meditation, because there's so many myths and it can be so confusing and don't know where to start. And I teach a really simple technique, and that was the long way of getting around to Vedic, is that Vedic meditation, it comes from the word Veda, and Veda means body of knowledge. Vedic means of the knowledge. So the idea of that is, in Vedic meditation, we use mantras, and a mantra is a sound that allows the mind to quiet down and de-excite. So from the word, when it's broken down, manas, which is mind, and tra, which is vehicle. So you're using a mind vehicle, using the nature of the mind, which is traction. So the mind works on the principle of traction, we're either being attracted to something or distracted away. So if you give the mind this beautiful sound, like the mantra that you're just thinking intrinsically, you allow the mind to quiet down and settle. And as is the mind, so is the body, right? If you've ever been on a first date or a job interview or right before a radio show, and you're biting your fingernails, cracking your knuckles, busy mind, busy body. The body's a direct printout of where the mind is at. So when you give the mind a chance to quiet down, de-excite, and settle, as is the mind, so is the body. So the body starts to quiet down and de-excite. And the important thing about de-exciting the physical body is that you're able to obtain rest. And rest is the antidote to stress. So when the body is rested, you're rapidly releasing massive amounts of stress that's been stored up.
Why stress when you can rest?
That's right. That's right. And it's actually like simple, but it's true. You know, we think about, you know, why would you stress when you could rest? The idea of I'm so stressed out right now, I need to go on a 5-mile run, or I just need to go swim out as far as I can and float and then swim back in. Or I need to go to the gym and just throw some weights around. You're staying in the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight, not giving your body the chance to de-excite and rest. And so in meditation, in more particular Vedic meditation, when the body settles down, stress is stored because it's an abnormality at the physical, structural, or material level, which means that we store stresses in the body unbeknownst to us. It's when we're not adapted to handle a certain situation. So when that gets released, it expels energy causing activity in the body. And anytime there's energy or activity, it gets dragged up to the more grosser levels of awareness, as is the body, so is the mind. So if the mind starts to get dragged up, it's recognizing that release that just occurred and labeling it as a thought. And that's actually why thoughts are good in meditation, contrary to popular belief. It's evidence of stress being released.
Wow,
So, I mean,
made complete sense. That was a great way of explaining that. Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
he always makes sense. I'll just make that point now. Like anybody who's been to one of his courses or an intro talk, you just sit there and you're like, yeah, wow.
Can I just talk about how I got introduced to Matt and introduced to meditation was Travis was like, there's this guy, he's one of my friends. I had met Matt briefly at like running into him at a family thing once. And he's like, I really want to go to his course and let's just go to his talk and hear it. And, you know, I really want to get into this meditation. I'm thinking, I don't want to do meditation. Like I wasn't into that. Like I was the person that when I'm stressed, I go to the gym and I do that type of stuff. That was my answer. But I was like, okay, I'll go with you. So we go to the talk and I'm sitting there and I'm listening to him talk and I'm just like staring at him. I'm like, this makes so much sense. Like, and then as soon as it was done, we signed up and took the course and that was that. So, I mean, it's incredible when you're explained it in the right format in the correct way and what it really is. It does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and you're a very science-based person.
You
and
are a
approach.
science nerd.
You literally
We
have
love that.
you have science tattooed on your body. You can show what do you got tattooed
Let's
on your
not
body?
talk about my tattoos.
Oh,
but,
okay. And we are not talking about her tattoos, but she has science tattooed on her body. She's got E equals MC squared
Yes,
on
this is
one
true.
side, and then she's got like a what do you call the bubble glass thing?
We're talking about my tattoos, but that's okay.
So what do you call it? What do you call a beaker?
Yeah.
Cylinder.
It's
A beaker,
A
yeah.
beaker.
So one of
And
the first things Liz said to me, speaking of beakers, is like right before day one on the course started, she's like, I really loved the science part of what you're talking about. She's like, I'm a total science geek. So I've studied like all the different scientific research studies on meditation. So half of the course was like talking about studies and like all the different like physiological effects from a science perspective.
Yeah.
And I think that really helped resonate with you.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
was-
And I know I'm not alone in that. I mean, there's more people out there that are science minded.
Mhm.
So that type of explanation makes so much sense.
Yes.
Mhm.
So definitely.
So I think we should dive deeper into that science because it's really fascinating. But before we go there, let's go back in time a little. So I mean, everybody has a path and a journey, and so that journey has led up until now. And here we all are sitting together, and now you've spent years and thousands of hours, and you're teaching people all over the world. But where did it begin?
So how far would you like to go back? We could talk about whatever you want.
What did you like to eat as a little baby Matt?
Chicken fingers.
I feel like that's every kid's like fear of food chicken.
Yeah.
We'd go to the nicest restaurants, like on family vacations. My sister and I, chicken fingers. Parents are getting like the Chilean sea bass. Like, you don't want to try.
So
chicken.
were you sitting in the diner booth and you meditated and manifested the chicken fingers? You didn't even need to say anything to the
They just
waitress.
arrived.
Were you?
Bam.
I mean, now, or where did the journey of leading you to, what led you to meditation?
All right, great question. So, graduating college, I went right into, both of my parents were in sales. My mom
Where did you go to college?
University of Delaware.
Oh, right on. U of D. I don't know if that's
Flat
real,
state. The winters are brutal. It's so cold. So, but I loved it. I loved the school. Graduated. I got right into medical device sales, or scientific research sales, as it more specifically would be kind of appropriately called. But I did that for 6 years, and I found that throughout I had these dips of feeling like, is this it? Because I was like, had my retirement plan where I was gonna like retire at 60 and then I could like live my life. And I said, is that really what this is like all about? I was making great money and I was just grinding. And to release stress, I didn't go to the gym. Instead, I was like partying, drinking, substances, and burning the candle at both ends. So towards the end, what happened was it went from like a semi-professional partier to a professional partier and a professional sales rep. So that lasted about 2 years of kind of going really hard. And I had to hit the reset button. So came down here to Florida, cleaned everything up, reset. And I just wanted to go a little bit of a different direction. So I was tied into the recovery field and really doing some work on myself. So I started researching, part of a fellowship is a 12-step program. And one of the steps includes meditation. And it seemed like there wasn't a ton of information surrounding what meditation was. It was kind of like, just sit with your eyes closed for a minute and then pray. And I thought, I'm still feeling kind of funky. I'm feeling kind of squirrely. So I started researching different types of meditations. And that's when I found the apps. Like when I talked about contemplative, I actually did those apps. I downloaded a bunch of them. I'd sit out in the morning and have my coffee and just listen to it for 5 minutes. And that kind of gave me like, I wanted to learn a little bit more. That was kind of like my toe in the water. And then a friend brought me to, I think you're familiar with the Shambhala Center.
Yes. Yeah, Shambhala.
So I practiced that for a while and really enjoyed it. One of the teachers came in and we did like a whole weekend with him.
I've done that. Yeah, I've done a few of the level courses there.
Yeah.
Their mission, they're all over the world, but their mission is to make enlightened society possible.
Right. Really enjoyed it. And I was kind of doing that mixed with the apps and kind of making my own stuff up. And what's challenging about that is, and I think this, and anyone who's tried meditation, is that it's almost like you're fending for yourself. All these thoughts come up. Am I just sitting here? Is this meditating? Is this working? What's supposed to be happening? What does this mean? Right? All of these different questions.
I really need to go to the bathroom, but I don't know if I should get up in the middle of the day.
Can I scratch my nose?
It's like, there's also, I found too, in sitting for long periods of time, you had kind of those breakthrough moments where you drop, but you also have some interesting thoughts that can come up from deeper places, like that maybe could scare you. Like, why did I just think that thought?
Right.
Like, that was a scary thought. Like, what am I, interesting.
Right. And a lot of the times, the meditation circles will kind of coin that the dark night of the soul. And, like something dark comes up and it feels ominous. And the idea of that is like everything is only always happening for you. So it doesn't mean like something negative's coming. More often than not, because when you're de-exciting and resting and something like that comes up, it could be a flavor of what's been stored in there as a stress that's now being released. So the common, reaction to that is open my eyes, get up and go turn the TV on or get on Instagram. It was just right there. It was bubbling up. And if you sat through it, your whole life was on the other side of that 2 more minutes.
Yeah.
That could have been something that was so deep and dug in for so long. And then it just kind of, it fizzles back down and goes back to where it was.
So you're going to Shambhala.
Yes. Going to Shambhala. And I was also working for a National Behavioral Health Institute. So we treated eating disorders, substance use disorder, and a multitude of other kind of afflictions. And I was able to travel, at will. And I just utilized all of the different skills that I did in scientific research sales in terms of pipeline, organization, territory management. And I just applied it right to this job. And it was like a plug and play. So I happened to be out in Santa Monica. I'm working I got a call from one of my colleagues, and she, we had some calls before, and she said, "You're into that like hippy dippy meditation stuff, right?" Like that weird. And I said, "Yeah, what's up?" And she said, "There's a guy in Santa Monica. His name's Tom, and he's a huge name in the game. He's been teaching for 50 years. He studied in India for 26 under Maharishi. My friend said he's the real deal. You should go check him out." And anytime I get something like that, where it's like sounds like he could be the best, I was like right there. So I remember sitting in this studio, and in he walks, and he had like this long white beard. And I just was naturally skeptical at the time, and for a lot of years leading up to that. And I remember thinking like, how this guy can't be the real deal, right? Just anything that I could try and point out.
Like it's too obvious. Like, okay,
Yeah,
come
just-
on. The
yeah.
guy with the long white beard,
Right. Like, oh yeah, you got the whole show going. But so he sits
It's like
down.
Santa Claus.
Yeah, he sits down, crosses his legs, sits there for like, it was probably like 10 seconds of silence, but it felt like a minute, just so comfortable sitting in that silence. And he opened his mouth, and it was like a flow state that I'd never heard before. He wasn't processing anything through the intellect. It was just, and you could feel it. It was something that was different from some of the other communities that I'd been involved in. And I could feel like, wow, this guy's really coming from a place of like no checkpoints. And sometimes he would say something that wasn't funny really to anyone else. And it was like he heard it for the first time and he started laughing.
He was Jim Carrey in that.
He was. It's that same flow state, right? And I said, whatever this guy's doing, I just want a little bit more of that. Because I used to I remember sitting in meetings and I'd like, okay, I got 3 points I want to talk about when I raise my hand. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this, and this, and then I'll get out. I had everything so organized, and it was just built up in fear. I don't want to sound stupid. I want people to like me. And whatever this guy had, I need some relief from that, whatever that guy is. And so I took the course with him. And then I just started traveling all over the nation where all the other teachers were. So I'd base my work schedule in Colorado or Atlanta or New Jersey or Wyoming, wherever the teachers were teaching. I would just kind of apprentice or try and be involved in. And I just stayed close. And then after that first year, that was when I made my trip to India, my first trip. And quite an experience. That was what kind of was the game changer in me going from, I was meditating every day for a year, but then it was like light switch turned on.
Yeah. Wow. Is that our private jet landing?
Yeah.
Your jet is here, sir.
Okay. We're
Time to wrap it up.
well, we're heading to India after the show. So it's so when you landed in India, I mean, really,
You want to hear about my landing?
Yeah, I want to hear about the landing and take us to India
Okay.
because I've never been. Has
here's-
anybody out there been to India? Can you relate?
Yeah, let's get some India. It'd be fun. Some questions about India. So my first trip, I was scheduled to be from, and I ended up going, but it was Chennai, flying into Chennai, Pondicherry, Oroville, Vellore. So it's kind of like this southeast circle in India. And I remember I had a layover in Frankfurt, Germany, and the flight landed late to get there. So I missed that flight, and I almost didn't make that day flight back I had to fly to Mumbai and then Chennai, but they lost my luggage from Mumbai to Chennai. And so when I arrived to like the people that I was going to be doing this journey with, I only had a backpack with a toothbrush and my contact container case and an extra pair of shorts.
Oh boy.
At least you had a toothbruch.
Yeah, that actually
Yeah.
was. Like my contact case and
Yeah,
toothbrush.
that's pretty key.
Everybody else is like, man, this guy's hardcore. He's going super minimalist. He's like, he's committed.
Yeah, I just accepted the role. Like, yeah, this is how I go.
He's in the moment already.
Right. But I remember, and what's so funny about India is like everything is so laid back. So I went to like the woman who was running the retreat, Laura Poole, who's absolutely like a phenomenal Vedic meditation teacher, big inspiration. She's like, talk to the front desk, they'll work it out with the airport. So I remember going there and I'm talking with them in the beginning, and they said, come back tomorrow. So I came back the next day and I said, hey, is my luggage on the way? Did you communicate? And it was like a little bit of like, kind of like he was pretending like he was looking in his book, and I said, do you know when it's coming? And he said, all is coming, sir. Do you have a date though, like a time? All is coming. Okay, thank you. I'll be back. Thank you. You know, it's like
come
so
back
relaxed.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's like this.
In this lifetime, it'll be here.
So 10 days later, my
Wow.
luggage appeared. So I went to they have like a store called Fab India, and you just get like the native Indian garb, and you know, it's like linen and very light, and it's actually like really nice to like comfortable to wear.
Yeah.
And we just went to different ashrams. We stayed at pidams, different caves that are really, really ancient, puja ceremonies and yagyas, and it was like so vibrant and intense for me that at some points I was like, you know how sometimes it's like, this is too much, but I like it.
Yeah.
It was like kind of like that. And then coming back, I had like a little bit of a hangover from that experience. And then after that, when it started to kind of integrate, that was when I had like the light switch turn on.
Integration.
It was an integration. and then I made 4 trips back in the next 2 years after that, studying to be a teacher.
That was like my first experience with the crossing. This is too much, but I like it.
Yeah.
It was very similar in that intense experience. It was like, wow, this is way over my head, but I like it.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again. And you went back, and you kept doing it.
Yeah.
Pushed it, to
Yeah.
the limits. So in that experience, I mean, of the experiences you've had in India, how many times have you been to India now?
5 times.
Wow. Cool. Of those times, are there any specific memories in your own practice or your own journey that really stand out as aha moments, or really kind of self-realization or self-awakening, in the sense that things really kind of...
Yeah, you know, it was the first time where, and once you go to India, it just changes you. Like, you just feel something. There's a different energy. There's a different field.
Can I just say that if I do, or when I do go to India, I would like to go with you, sir.
I would love for you to come.
So just setting that up now.
Yeah.
If anybody else would like to go to India, when we go to India, whenever that takes place, we're going to be going with Matt, because he's been 5 times.
Actually, I'm probably going to set something up in 2019 for that.
Yes.
So that would be fun.
Please.
Yeah.
Like maybe post crossing, could we do that?
Ooh.
Like a post crossing de-excite.
That would actually be a great idea.
Yeah.
That's not a bad
Yeah.
idea.
And then we can invite everybody who was in the crossing, be like, was that intense, but you liked it? Come to India with Matt
Stay
Cardone.
in an ashram.
We're
Right.
bringing our toothbrushes. That's
Yeah,
it.
toothbrushes and contact solution. You need nothing else. Maybe we can double book it in the future. Crossing, book the crossing. It'll be intense, but you'll like it, and then you can come to India.
Let it all go.
Yeah. So, you know, to answer your question is the biggest shift that I noticed, you know, working on spirituality, working on myself, having this conception or building an idea of God, or, you know, universal spirit, or an unbounded ocean of absolute, whatever you call it, right? I noticed that in India, people haven't forgotten about God, and they haven't forgotten about stopping and paying appreciation to nature. It was like, that's first, then, you know, family, then work, and the priorities are shifted. So there's, you know, the idea of like walking down the street with, I was with a rishi, his name's Panditji. He stopped me in the middle of an alley in Rishikesh, and there was just this beautiful like stream of sunlight coming through that were like just hitting our face. And he said, face it and like take in Surya, which is, you know, the sun. And it was like appreciation of nature when I was there, like the flowers and the scents, like really enlivening the 5 senses, where I hadn't tapped into before, because I was just operating in this like almost cultural indoctrinated way of just like do more, be better, achieve this, you know, and stopping and smelling the roses literally was like, this is life.
Well, one thing I learned from one of your classes was, you know, most of the time we're always in a do, like constant doing mode. But really, what you should be aiming for is the doobie-doo. Yeah, the doobie-doo, where you do something, but then you can step back and just be with it. And then you can do something and then be with it. Because I think one of my questions was like, well, how much are we supposed to be being all the time? Like, I mean, because I have like a lot of people like texting me and calling me and emailing me, and we have like things to do and children to raise, and there's like a lot going on, and so how much am I supposed to be being? How many do's versus be's? But it really should be a balance, right?
Yeah. So balance is key, and I think that someone like you who now seems to be like you're like both. You have the ability to kind of also be, but you're a doer as well.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm actually doing both now.
Yeah.
Like with taking on meditation, and learning from you.
Yeah.
And reading a lot of books about self-actualization and realization. And I feel like I'm finally starting to hit a stride where when I'm doing, I'm just being as well.
So that's the mindfulness that
And,
we're
and
talking
it feels
about.
a lot more authentic.
Yeah.
And now that's not always the case. I definitely feel it slip, but it's interesting because over time, it was like 5-6 years ago, I would like feel like, oh, that's good. I'm feeling like I'm present. I'm in it.
Yeah.
And then I'd slip into like my mind would just go crazy monkey mind again.
Yeah.
And then so I would get little doses of feeling very present and mindful with everything. And then over time, it like the balance started to shift where I'd get into these zones where I was like in it. It was just in it.
Yeah.
But then I'd fall out of it. But being aware of falling out of it seemed to be more obvious. It was like, oh, there I go again. And I would catch myself.
Right.
And so, sitting with that, was a great way to just observe it. It was like watching a tennis match or something.
Yeah.
It was like, almost in a sense like the little devil or angel on your shoulder, but they were like playing a ping pong game in my brain.
Right.
And it was like, whack, whack, like a good thought, no, a bad thought, no, good thought, no, bad thought. And I was like, how about just no thought?
Yeah.
Like, can we just pause the game?
Yeah. And I've noticed a distinct difference in your clarity of speech and kind of like your look in your eye that's taken place. So
It's my contact solution though, too.
new contact solution. But yeah, the whole idea of like being human is like remembering and forgetting, right? Remembering that we're spirit, forgetting and being in the humanness. It's part of the experience. It's part of why we're here. Consciousness created separation, ignorance to fully enjoy the experience of what it is. Bringing ourselves back home. Essentially, that's what we're doing. Ram Dass, we're walking each other home. So consciousness created this individual expression, all of us, and the whole idea is for it to experience the relative. It was only this oneness. And so when we come up as humans and we're rolling around, and if we're only in the relative, it's not super interesting. That do, that remember and forget. When you're a human and you put your hand up, you're meditating and you're starting to enliven and awaken yourself. It's like, hey, I'm here, I'm awake. Consciousness, nature comes in and says, wow, we got someone to play with. How cool is this, right?
Yeah.
And now you have the support of nature. And then you go out and perform action, right? The Bhagavad Gita says, right, establish being, perform action. It's one of the oldest texts that people keep going back to. And that's what life is about for me. It's about tapping into that, going out and being of service. How can I help, right? And trying to stay in that mentality. I want to teach more people to meditate. I want to inspire people. I want to tap back in.
Tap,
Slam it,
tap,
I'm tapping
tap.
the table. But yeah, that's the idea.
Getting excited. Boom,
Boom,
boom.
boom.
He's bringing it. He's bringing that presence.
Yeah. So, that's kind of the idea, the stance that I take of that. Like, it's okay if you forget that you're not in the moment or you're not being mindful. I'm human. Now, just remember that I'm spirit and not, get down on myself.
Well, and so I've heard, and to me, the few times that I've gotten into conversation about it or just had these moments where I just laugh out loud, that it really is like a big cosmic joke that we have come and been delivered into this vehicle, this bodysuit of bone and blood and goo and whatever, and ocean, right? The 76% that's ocean. And that we've been poofed into an individual existence. And we think like, oh, I'm Travis Suit, and you like try to hold it all up and do it all, and it's like, and it's just gonna go away anyways. I mean, this whole physical thing's going, and
No
gone.
one's making it out of here alive.
Yeah, well, and in the CF community, I always
Not on
make
the
this
show,
point
though, okay?
that
Not on the show.
yeah, not on the show. That would be interesting. If I could go, I'd go right now. I would take it. I would totally be accepting of that. Just let me go. I'm in this presence with you guys. I would love that.
We'll roll
That'd
you
be
up
okay.
in the banner.
Roll me up in the banner
We'll
and
take
send
it
me
out.
out to sea
All right.
into the unbounded ocean of absolute. I was thinking when you said unbounded ocean of absolute, next time we're in Bimini. When you come, Bimini, so Matt was our teacher, meditation instructor in Bimini.
Are you coming this year?
Wi-
Coming this year,
Yeah.
correct? Awesome.
When
He's
you're
alive for whether he likes it or not.
Good. Good. We'll drag him.
when you're 40 miles offshore and you see no land, you feel like you're in the unbounded ocean of absolute.
That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Matt,
It's
can
a
you
different.
can you talk about those stories? Still, one of the stories I remember that I love the most. Talk about the story with the ant.
This
Oh,
story.
man, we got 3 minutes, by the way.
It's a
This
short story.
I know this conversation it's just been awesome and flying by, but we got some calls to action too. So quick ant story, bro.
I'll do a wrap up. The ant story is good for if we have a little bit more time next time,
Okay.
Yes.
because it's a little bit elaborate. But I do want to recap and kind of like, this cosmic journey that we're on, the whole idea of remember and forgetting and bringing ourselves to spirit and back to human. And all of that is to experience love, right? It's to experience what we already are. And when you have the ability to share that and inspire people through that, that's the lens. Ask yourself, what would love do? In any situation, you keep bringing yourself back to what you already are and trying to come from that place. That's why we're here. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
I like what would love do.
Yeah. Can we
And I
use
like-
that tagline
I
on the
like
show?
what we used
Yeah.
at the crossing.
Yeah, can we? That's just perfect. It's simple. It's easy to remember. It's relatable.
Matt Cardone would say, "What would love do?"
Or what we were
Yeah.
saying at the crossing.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
Yeah, and so in the video, this is another point. Man, we could go for hours. So in the crossing video, right, that's been nominated for Movie of the Year, Matt's amazing voice and description of consciousness was the voiceover Talia used in the video, and it was beautiful. It really brought the whole thing together.
Thank you. And she did a phenomenal job. She is so talented.
Tally Mark Productions.
And everyone that was all of her crew, Andrew, all of them were, geez, they were on it.
Yeah, they really are an amazing team, and they help bring it and manifest it. So interestingly enough, we do have some verbal commitments on Facebook to going on this India trip.
Quite a few. Actually.
Yeah, actually,
Oh, wow.
like a handful. So
Yeah,
I think we can rally a team up, and we'll do it. And we've got some great messages here from Heidi and from Michelle. Definitely need Matt back. An hour is not enough time. Bring Matt back. The world needs more messages from Matt. Love to you all.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And I'd love to be, more involved in the health and wellness and the, working with families and, in any way that I can.
Well, and a big thing, and we've got like a minute and a half left, but a big thing that I wanted to ask you that we weren't really able to dive deep into yet, but is how does meditation work for the CF community? How can we make that work? Because the CF warriors face some of the hardest challenges physically, mentally, and financially than anybody on the planet. And I really want to find a way that we can bring this modality to the CF community so they can find relief. And not just for the patients but and the kids, but for the caretakers who pour their life into it, because there's a lot of stressed CF caretakers out there, and we need to find a way to take care of them.
Yeah. So my whole plan with that, and if this does, move forward, is to get people to self-sufficiently practice it on their own without needing to, call someone up, have someone in front of them, so that intrinsically they're building that equity. They're releasing the stress. And, and if they need the support and they need to talk it through, I'm always there. But for the families that are going through the tough time, so important to, it's such a tough situation. And so when families have a chance to kind of tap into themselves, rest, de-excite, get some release, and then be able to connect more from that space. And for the patients, dropping the metabolic rate, the trauma that the body's going through, de-exciting can only help. Rest is the antidote to that, right? And so it would be a win-win.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Matt Cardone, for being on the Epic Love Radio
We've gone
Show.
so fast.
We are
It
so
does. Thank
so
you.
happy to have you here, and thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thank you to everybody who watched. This is what Epic Love is about, people. Share it, like it, love it.
What would love do?
What would love do?
That was fun.
It's so fast, right?
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
You should have your own podcast and do it with these guys. You do it same way.
You
every
really
week.
should.
Yeah.
You got the voice.
Yes, you do.
See that? You heard it from the
We
sound
should
man.
do a podcast too.
I'll come in. Well,
Special guest star.
yeah. Yeah. I want to do one just on like on Jim Carrey shit. Oh wait, I forgot. We're still live.
Behind the scenes.
Still live.
We gotta do a
Yeah, let's
photo.
get a photo. Hey, thank you everybody for tuning in.
Thanks,
Any
guys.
final comments from anybody here in the crowd on the show? Thank you to our sponsors.
Leanne said, "Do it, Matt."
All right.
Bye, guys.
Want me to save it?